It's been a pretty rough week for Middle-earth. As you've undoubtedly heard by now, elves managed to get out of Mirkwood and attack dwarven settlements around the Lonely Mountain. This has ignited a firestorm across the entirety of Middle-earth, as tensions run high in elf and dwarf communities everywhere. Disappointingly, in spite of decades of dwarves supporting orc rights movements, official orc organizations have come out in support of the elves. And in spite of the clear and imminent threat the elves pose to the dwarves, some members of the dwarves are still inclined to want to bring up human supremacy for some reason, despite the fact that the humans are not the ones attacking them and haven't attacked them for almost a century. The human kingdoms of Dale, Rohan, and Gondor have all issued statements in support of the dwarves of Lonely Mountain, but have a problem on their hands with their own half-elf populations who seem to be taking the side of the elves, since they were never properly taught about human values in history. And now the dwarves are blockading off Mirkwood and are about to destroy the entire forest, which by the time that is over, people will have forgotten the original acts of elf hostility and all the blame will be heaped upon the dwarves yet again. And these are, of course, issues that most people should be talking about. It's a bit hard to want to, make Middle-earth tube videos about Dungeons and Dragons or, oh no, Taylor Swift's movie might have depressed audience attendance because of the war in Mirkwood. Like, who cares? Unfortunately, because of the divide between the leadership of the human countries and the half-elf activists that they've raised, it's a little hard to tell exactly which side is safest to come out in support of in the long term. I must say there is a certain historical irony that the dwarves have been pushed into a position that they're about to be blamed for committing a genocide on elves. I've even seen people try to justify the elves' actions by saying it would have been okay for the Ents to wipe out the humans who occupied their land. Which, if I were an Ent, I'd be maybe a little insulted that these people are just making these declarations that besmirch my own Entish morality, but that's just me. Obviously, I'm just trying to take the position of what I think I would be like if I were an Ent. But I'm not an Ent, so who knows? Maybe I would be bitter about humans living in Hobbiton and the Shire and Bree in such close proximity to holy sites like the Old Forest and Tom Bombadil that I would have a different perspective. But unfortunately, I can only really speak from the human point of view. So let's hope that the dwarves don't go overboard, and let's hope that the elves don't manage to manipulate everyone into thinking that somehow this is entirely brought upon them out of nowhere. The elf-dwarf conflict goes back thousands of years in Middle-earth, to a point where most people don't even really understand the whys, and in modern times want to make it all about politics and resource struggle, and don't want to acknowledge the religious influence of the Silmarillion. So anyway, on this day of global magic, I want you all to be safe, and just remember that while we might want to be neutral in all of this, unfortunately, nations like Dale and Rohan have interfered a lot throughout the past, and so whether we like it or not, we are kind of a part of this whole story. So, make of that as you will. Until next time, stay waspinated.
First of all, what went through my mind is how stupid am I to actually volunteer for this. It was unbelievably painful.